Good evening from Washington. I'm Larry O'Connor. More revelations now about those classified documents found in a box in a closet in the Penn Biden Center think tank. But these classified documents from the Obama-Biden administration, they're very different than the classified documents found in Mar-a-Lago, of course. A major difference here is that President Trump has said that he declassified all the documents down in Mar-a-Lago. Another big difference is that those documents are actually in a locked room in a completely secured facility, a compound, Mar-a-Lago, with ongoing Secret Service security. These documents were, like I said, sitting in a box in a closet in some office in Washington. Well, I'm told that the Trump documents, it's a much bigger story, much worse, much more serious than the Biden documents. And to get this straight, I think we're going to have to go through all of the facts here involved so that we know what to believe and what not to believe. So hopefully by the time we get through all these facts, we'll know what to believe and what not to believe. So let's start the timeline, shall we? Now, Joe Biden ends his 18 years as vice president in January of 2017, right? And he deliberately chooses not to run for president in 2016, so his career is over. He's going to ride off into DC politics sunset by setting up a think tank. Now, let's just pause here for a moment and recognize the irony of having a think tank named after Joe Biden. That's right. They called it the Penn Biden Center. It's a Joe Biden think tank. I don't know how much thinking's going on over there, but if you go to their website, you'll see that it's pretty empty. So I guess that's reflective of the Joe Biden career. Anyway, they established the Penn Biden Center through the University of Pennsylvania, and this is a win-win for everybody involved. Joe Biden gets to make money for not doing anything. He gets to call himself a professor and pretend like he's smart. By the way, $20 to anybody, any student at the University of Pennsylvania who actually sat through a Joe Biden lecture. I want to hear what that was like. We'll give you an exclusive. All right, $100. But I want to hear all about the lecture you got from Joe Biden. Anyway, he gets to call himself a professor. University of Pennsylvania gets to fundraise from wealthy Democrat donors and Biden cronies by exploiting the Biden name. Oh, and fundraise they did, including tens of millions of dollars from the Chinese Communist Party. Chinese money. Now, let me be clear here. People often shorthand this whole Chinese Communist Party money with the phrase Chinese money. And I know a lot of people accuse you of being racist or xenophobic or something. But it is literally Chinese money. Chinese money, money from Chinese people who are Chinese nationals, who are citizens of the country of China, who are directly connected to the Chinese government, the Chinese military, and the Chinese Communist Party. It's Chinese money. Now, nobody's claiming that this money that came from is money that came from some guy who owns a Chinese restaurant in Scranton, Pennsylvania, you know, Joe Biden's hometown. Oh, the kid from Scranton made good. Yeah, I want to donate to you. No. This in no way is casting aspersions on loyal, patriotic Chinese Americans who fled the communist authoritarians to embrace life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness here in America. That kind of money would not be called Chinese money. That would be called American money from a Chinese American, an American of Chinese descent, right? This is Chinese money. Chinese Communist Party donates a bunch of Chinese money to the University of Pennsylvania, home of the Penn Biden Center. And that money, of course, funnels its way to the Biden family. See, at the same time, the Biden Center is being set up at the University of Pennsylvania with money from the Chinese Communist Party. Joe Biden's brother and son are building major relationships with Chinese companies. And somewhere along the line, Hunter Biden's business partner, Tony Bobulinski, sends an email reminding everyone that they got to set aside 10% for the big guy. That'd be 10% of the Chinese money. For the big guy, that'd be Joe Biden. Now, a few months go by, and report after report after report, back in around 2018, report after report starts surfacing about the nefarious influence of the Chinese Communist Party on college campuses here in America. You see, they've set up multiple centers on campus with their Chinese Communist Party money to help make their government look good to impressionable young college students. It's a big thing. It's all across this country. We've also had reports at the time of university professors at those very universities that have received Chinese money from the Chinese Communist Party who have been arrested for espionage on behalf of the Chinese Communist Party and against this here American government. Now, these reports become so ubiquitous that the Trump administration, through the Justice Department, they decided to set up a special task force to investigate the role of Chinese Communist Party on our college campuses. This is a big deal, and the investigation begins to show some fruit. Now then, of course, in 2020, you see, Joe Biden becomes president, and within weeks, he orders the Justice Department to disband this entire investigation. Even deep state lackey Christopher Wray complains about this order, explaining that there is a real and legitimate threat of the Chinese Communist Party on our university campuses. It's very real, it's serious, and their investigation was bearing fruit. But Joe Biden, he'll have none of it. Joe Biden does not want any investigation into Chinese money from the Chinese Communist Party on our college campuses. Oh, he wants parents who protested school board meetings investigated as domestic terrorists. I mean, that's the real threat. But the Communist Party in China on college campuses donating money, just like the tens of millions of dollars they donated to the Penn Biden Center that made Joe Biden rich and made his family rich? No investigations allowed there. Now, months go by in the Biden administration and the midterm elections are upon us, and Republicans promise that if they win the majority in the House of Representatives, they'll begin many serious investigations, including a committee that will look into China's actions in our country and on our college campuses, and they'll try to find out why the Biden administration stopped that investigation. And in the same week that the Republicans win that majority, we're told that Biden's lawyers just happen to accidentally discover classified documents at the Penn Biden Center. That would be the Penn Biden Center that received tens of millions of dollars from the Chinese Communist Party that would now be subject to a congressional investigation. They just happened to find those classified documents. We're also told that these classified documents are entirely different than the classified documents that were allegedly found in Mar-a-Lago at the residence of Donald Trump. The big difference, of course, the big difference is that Biden cooperated with the archives and the federal government, we're told, and Trump didn't. Of course, there's no reason to believe that Biden didn't cooperate immediately when he found those documents the very week that he was going to be under congressional investigation. No, of course. I believe that, don't you? Hey, everybody. Suddenly, immediately, the moment we're going to be under congressional oversight over the Chinese money and influence directly related to the university that I'm working with, in the office where the classified documents are found, hey, everybody, look, we found classified documents. That makes sense. That's a perfect example of cooperation. They immediately tell the government the second they find out they're going to be subject to a congressional investigation. I believe it. So now we've learned, by the way, that the subject of those classified documents included classified information regarding Ukraine and Iran, which is certainly information that the Chinese Communist Party would love to know about. And that's everything we know up until now, except that Joe Biden has denied any knowledge of anything here. His lawyers told him not to ask what was in the documents. I like that little tidbit. And he was surprised to see that there were any government documents brought down here from Pennsylvania, let alone classified documents. There. See? It's perfect. Everything is perfectly understandable. It's a great explanation. I've laid it all out, and now it's up to us to figure out what we should believe and what we shouldn't. So, what are we to believe about all of this? Pretty much none of it. More to come on O'Connor Tonight.